Today is the day that the Lord has made. And when He made me, He ate my baby. Anyway, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step two, step two, step two, step two. Anyway, sorry. Little sidetracked. I'm getting together. I'm finding it. I'm finding it. Okay. Um, I told you I would come back with the teaching about coveting and spirit spouses before we go into the Here Comes the Bride prayers in November, which again they will start now officially November the 10th through November 17th. So before we go into that, there are still a few things that I know the Lord is leading me to teach before we get into those prayers, so that when we get into those prayers in November, that you have a reference for why I'm saying certain things, or um, pinpointing certain things that we're going to go in prayer about. But today we're going to switch gears before I go into talking about coveting and spirit spouses. I'm going to switch gears a little bit because in this season, the Lord has really been pressing on me to pray for men. I wouldn't say that's unusual, but He's really in a season turning me towards what He's doing with the men right now, and so I'm going to go back to what the Lord has told me and shown me about the characteristics of a man of God. But first, y'all know I gotta tell you about the dream I had. Okay. And like the Lord is doing something with the men right now. And there is a deep desire to heal for men. So I waited a little bit before coming to share this, because I was like, okay, is this something that specifically that you want me to pray for a particular person, or is this for men in general? So in this dream that the Lord gave me, this one was real deep, because I was like, oh, and it really touched my heart, because I was like, man, I'm honestly, I'm gonna say this dream really touched my heart, because sometimes I think we don't realize how much men have to deal with. And I really feel like the Lord was highlighting that we are in a time that many men are in this place of wanting to heal, but sometimes they're surrounded by people who are judging them or expecting them to stay the same, if that makes sense. Anyway, let me just tell you about the dream. So in this dream, I was outside and I wasn't really paying attention to this man, but I saw him, and the way that the Lord showed me this man was he was by himself for a minute. There was people around us, there was people around, but he was like off to the side by himself, and his back was turned towards everybody else. And like I said, I wasn't paying attention to him at first, but it was like the Lord zoomed in, and He zoomed in on his ear. And so on his ear, I saw like there was a piercing up here. And I found that very significant. I'm like, why is the piercing up there? But anyway, it was a piercing up here, and it was like a keloid, like healing over the piercing. And then in the dream, I'm thinking, I'm like, why don't He just take the piercing out? He could just take the piercing out so it can heal the right way. But He had the piercing in there. So as I'm seeing the piercing in his ear, and a keloid is forming, trying to heal over the piercing in his ear, the vision zoomed back out and focused on his ear anymore. But I could then see again everybody that was around us. And so he had turned around, and when he turned around, it's like he fell into formation. It was three rows of people, and he just fell right back into formation. So when he fell into formation, it was him standing right here, someone right next to him, and then there was another woman. This looks weird. There was another woman on the other side of the person in between him, and the woman like leaned forward and was trying to talk to him. She was like whispering in his ear. And so I'm watching this, I'm just like, okay. So I waited a little bit, because I said I want the Holy Spirit to tell me or confirm what I thought it meant. And He did. So again, like I said, we are in a time where These men are trying to heal. I'm gonna talk to my fellas, okay? I'm a I'm gonna hold your face when I say this. Good sir, you are called to lead. You are called to be everything God created you to be. All the creativity that you have, all the knowledge and wisdom that you have, even if you feel like you are out of the box, God has called you to do something amazing with that gifting and that ability. You have to stop dumbing yourself down to fit in with people that you were designed to lead. Okay? Now I'm holding your face as I say this. Okay? Because I want you to understand that you cannot heal in places that you're still hurting. You have to remove what is causing the pain from you to effectively heal. Okay? So in this dream, the Lord was showing me that some of these men, some of these men are surrounded in communities and families or social groups, like they friends, whatever, and they have been dumbing themselves down for so long. They have been going with the flow for so long that now it's something inside them, like the Lord is calling them and telling them, hey, it's time to heal. And they are healing. They are healing, but you can't effectively heal when you have the same people around you spewing negativity in your ear, when you have the same people in your ear not leading you down the path of righteousness into the Lord. You're changing, and the people around you don't like that you're changing. You're calling, God is calling you to follow Him, and you're afraid of how it's going to look like to everybody else. So for a while, you've been saying, I'm just gonna go with the flow. And that's why you got back in formation, because you have become so used to doing what everybody else is doing, or you've been so accustomed to doing what everybody else tell you to do, that you were just like this mindless robot, just information, doing what everybody else is doing. And God is like, no, it's time to stop. The Lord is calling you to be a leader of your family, of your friend groups. Now is not the time to play it safe and stay in alignment with the things that God no longer called you to. Like I said before, some of you are called to lead the very people that are telling you to keep doing this, keep doing that, keep doing the same thing that you've been doing. You're called to be a deliverer to people that are wanting you to stay the same. And God is saying, no, it's time to cut off everything and everyone that does not lead you to Christ. It was interesting that it was a woman in this man's ear, because although it might be a woman or some females around these particular men that is um, manipulating them and controlling them, the woman didn't necessarily represent a woman. It just represents the spirit of manipulation and control, and how it could be like so conniving and kind of just passive in a way to get men to do things. They don't even know. They don't even know that they're being led away from the Lord when they should be running towards the Lord. I'm gonna say it again. If you are trying to heal, you have to take the piercing out of your ears to effectively heal. If you are trying to heal, you have to take the piercing out of your ears to effectively heal. Right now, you are not hearing from the Lord, or you're trying to hear from the Lord, but you have confusion coming in. You have people in your ear telling you one thing, and God is telling you to do something else. And you're confused because you're like, I don't want to look crazy to everybody else. Baby, it's okay to look crazy. It's okay to look crazy. When you follow the Lord, it's okay to look crazy. And the thing is, you gonna look crazy. But you have to keep in mind, it's better that you look crazy to the world and be obedient to God. So what does that look like to cut off things and people that are not leading to Christ? That means you gotta lock in with the Lord. That means if you gotta lock in with the Lord and block out all that sound, all them noises, all the other voices that is not leading you to Christ, block them off. Because again, God is calling you to do great things, and you can't do it if you trying to fit in the very areas that He's trying to call you from. You cannot be a great leader if you're fitting in with all the people that are doing the same thing and following the same routine, following the same worldly ways. It's calling you to do something different, to be greater, because you are great. So continue to pray for our men. Continue to listen to the leading of the Holy Spirit. Don't be ashamed to follow the Lord and do something that you haven't seen anyone else do around you. Because again, you're called to lead.